The one mailbox in Margaretville, or Margaretsville, depending on who you ask. And this is the one part-time post office. And it's open from, I don't know, 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock. And the woman that runs it lives here. Picture that? There's the place. Look, there's a wheelbarrow full of lime. Well, not full, but we're going to put that in the dirt somewhere. No white caps today. Oregano's getting out of control for the front garden, so it's being moved to the back garden. And that wheelbarrow, it used to be my grandfather's. So there's the new home for the oregano. Ain't that something? Here's something you don't see every day. That's for making a knife sharp. And some of this stuff would have been my grandfather's stuff. And some of the stuff was here in the house when they bought the house 10 years ago. And this ain't so unusual for people in this area.
Soup in a cup.
Alright, here we go with the first hamburgers on the barbecue that we put together yesterday afternoon. Probably made in China. Most things are made in China that you get in Canada. There it is. Hamburgers. Grilling. There's the grill culture. Now, this is probably the most modest grill you'll see in North America, because the North Americans love the grilling meat. Might go up here on the way back. Buddy the dog is up there somewhere, running around the cliff. We'll see if we see him later. Can you see Buddy? That's the white dog on the top of the cliff. I don't know if he likes walking on these rocks, and maybe the salt water washes away all the scent, so it's probably more fun up there for him. We'll be jumping. There's a lot of driftwood here on the beach, and all around the world, of course, there's drift garbage. And right here, there's a lot of drift rope. So if you ever need rope, just go along the tide line and you'll find lots of it. Here, the dog came back. This here is an Indian throwing stone. Can you see that? Yeah, an Indian throwing stone. I'll tell you about the history of the Indians and my family. Mathematically speaking, at least one 1/32 of my blood is Indian, and that is because my grandfather's grandfather's mother was an Indian, and I think they were officially married. It wasn't like any of those weird rape things. He was, I just saw a picture of him. He looks pretty cool, actually. Anyway, the Indians would find a stone like this, and they'd say, "Wow, that looks like a throwing stone," and then they'd throw it away. Okay, maybe it's not that funny, but I'm going to tell you about the Holy Trinity in the written word. And to start with, I should remind you, in case you haven't seen the video, about the Holy Trinity of the brain, the reptilian brain, which we had probably about 500 million years, central nervous system, you could call it. And then there was the mammalian brain, which that fellow there shares with us. And then, of course, there's the intellect stuff that's coming lately and that we haven't quite figured out how to deal with. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what's the dog think about me talking into the computer or the camera. The Torah, the New Testament, and the Quran, the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity of theism. And I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't put, I've only read about a third of it so far, or a fourth of it, the Quran, and actually it does seem to follow the pattern of the people of the book, I think they call it quite often, and really the Jews were made by the Torah and the rest of the books, what they call the Holy Scriptures. And the New Testament was a breaking away from that, but it was also a part of that. And the Quran, I don't see why it couldn't be the third part of the Holy Bible to make the Holy Trinity. And when you read the whole thing from the Torah, I don't think all of the Old Testament is necessary. A lot of it's nonsense and just too tedious. But if you could do the Torah, the New Testament, and the Quran, I think you can get yourself a really good basis on how the human being thinks. Now, you're not going to get ultimate truth. There's no such thing as ultimate truth. And the biggest problem, of course, is when we talk about theism, we are going from the belief, and belief is not a good thing. We go from the belief that theism is a true, I don't know what you would call it. You can't call it a science because it's a belief. It's a true belief. And you have to do it on faith because there's absolutely no proof. You can look at around the world and say it's beautiful and so God must have did it, but that is no proof. But if you can get through the Holy Trinity of the Holy Written Words, you might get to a point by the end of it where you start to realize that the Holy Trinity is in our language, in our brain, and we are trying to get the holy thing. I mean, holy is really misleading because nothing's really holy. In the Quran, although I think it might be a step farther than the Christian Bible, which I shouldn't say on public video, but I think the Quran is a slight step beyond because it was written by one person. Well, not really. He was the teacher, the Muhammad guy, and he talked a lot, and a lot of people helped him write stuff down. So, in a way, it's more cohesive than the books before it, and it's also written in real time, which gives it also another advantage. I mean, I wouldn't say one religion is better than the other, but I think we have to stop fighting one another and realize that all three religions are basically the same concept, just taking one little baby step after the other. And now we got the Holy Trinity. If you take all three of them, mix them up together and say, okay, this theism thing is a little bit off base, put life in for God, drop God and put in life, and we got a whole new different concept of what belief can be. And maybe we can even start getting to a point where we don't have to kill each other, because I see absolutely no reason why Jews and Christians and Muslims should have a problem with each other when it is so basically the same thing, all based on one story that probably got nothing to do with reality. Whoever the hell Abraham was, I mean, he was just a wanker. Alright, we'll stop there. Well, there's Buddy and a little river. Can you speak? Actually, I like it that he doesn't speak. That's Debbie's dog. Debbie is the mail lady. The lady that works in the mail store.